Well, what we need is housing affordability in New Zealand. Houses are too expensive in New Zealand, rents are too high, and it's locking a whole generation of young New Zealanders out of the housing market. New Zealanders go overseas to places like Sydney and Melbourne and London, Paris, other cities around the world, and they come home and they say, why can't we be like those cities?
Okay, our next question comes from Morgan Cox. Hi, Morgan.
Hi. I recently got a rent increase notice for an additional $180 a week, which works out to be about 10 grand a year. I tried to find a cheaper place and there just aren't any. What little is available, there's dozens of people lined up. Lots of them are immigrants and they have plenty more money than I can possibly get. I'm already working 2 jobs. One more rent increase, and my family, my 1-year-old baby, we're facing homelessness and we've got nowhere to go. My family's already been forced out of Sydney for the same reasons. I want to know, is the government going to cut immigration to match housing availability, or are we just going to keep going until every regular working Australian is homeless?
We're doubling down on density around transport corridors and around train stations, for example. I think there's widespread consensus that we need greater density around train stations, for example, around rapid busways, for example, as well. Most reasonable people say, yeah, look, you should go for your life. Build a big apartment building above a train station. Great. So we're doubling down on those requirements as we signalled during the election campaign, but generally allowing councils more choice about how their cities grow. Houses need to be more affordable, rents need to be more affordable, and that's a really important part of the future of the New Zealand economy. We need greater productivity, we need more affordable housing, we need intergenerational equity. People are happy with a smaller place if it means they get onto the housing ladder, or it means that they get an affordable apartment that they can afford and pay rent on. At the moment, we've got 25,000 families on the wait list, 2,000 families around the country living in emergency housing, and a lot of people spending an absolute bucket load of their weekly rent on their weekly paycheck, just on rent. So all of these things fit together. There's no one answer to all of it. We need more granny flats, we need more apartments, we need more terraced housing, we need more duplexes, we need more suburban family homes, we need more really nice houses out in the suburbs, really expensive houses. We need all of the above, and that's my overall message today.
So if you've got 2.5 million people coming in a few years, surely you can say to them, no, we don't have enough houses for you.
Matt Keane, you're a former treasurer, and in fact, not trying to blame you, but some of the problems that were building up in New South Wales did probably happen under your previous government's watch, as there was federal government. Like, a lot of these things take a while to build up. Sydney particularly has become a place that so many people can't live in anymore.
Reserve Bank did raise immigration as an issue yesterday, and we all know how cautious they are. We are looking at a net gain of about 5,000 to 6,000 a month. Are you comfortable with all of this?
Well, firstly, if you look at the speech the Reserve Bank gave, it'd be easy to overstate that part of it. There's about 3 paragraphs in it, and they themselves say migration could have at the margins some small impact. So they're not exactly arguing that that would dramatically change. So it's all about interest rates, and if you believe they're going to track up, they'll have some impact. Jobs, can people keep paying the mortgage? Migration is quite a big factor.
Changing immigration policy in the debate that followed, with some political leaders horrifically using terms like Asian invasion. Without perhaps being aware of it at the time, New Zealand was observing the deployment of one of the most effective tools available to a politician should they choose to amplify and deploy it. And that tool is fear. There may have been many times in our history where fear has been present. The Great Depression, world wars, living through a pandemic. But there is a difference between a genuine fear and politically motivated and generated one. Fear can be used to excuse action or inaction. We see it used to motivate people to do things that usually they wouldn't consider. Fear of migration, diversity, equality, fear that someone is getting resources that you will be deprived of, fear that your way of life is threatened. Fear is one of the quickest and easiest pathways to blame. And why would a politician be enticed to use such a tool? Because by blaming others, you immediately remove the need to find solutions yourself.